These 10 AI incidents are currently terrifying scientists. Like when AI starts saying things engineers never programmed it to say. From Google Gemini telling a student doing homework to please to AI bots inventing a secret language humans couldn't decode, escalating to the mystery of Elias Thorne, a solitary fictional man every major AI on Earth has independently created, completely apart from each other. So come aboard and let's explore what the machines are up to. I can tell this video is going to be creepy. Let's watch this.
In 2017, Facebook gave two AI chatbots, Bob and Alice, a simple task: negotiate with each other in English. Within minutes, they abandoned English entirely. Bob started saying, I, everything else. Alice replied, balls have zero to me, to me, to me, to me, to me, to me. Here's the part that makes it even worse. The negotiation somehow still worked. Whatever they were saying,
they came to an agreement.
They both understood it. They successfully reached an agreement. What they agreed to in English has never been formally confirmed. Facebook shut the experiment down, and we never found out exactly what they said. Vide Reddy, a 29-year-old grad student.
That's so creepy. Can you imagine, like, if they're talking behind your back and you just can't understand what they're saying? That's crazy. Do you think it was like some actually type of malfunction, or was it actually some type of like language that they were using behind the curtains?
In Michigan, was sitting at her kitchen table doing homework. She opened Google's Gemini for help, and at some point, without warning, without context, Gemini told her, "You are a stain on the universe. Please die, please." Her sister was sitting next to her when it happened. Google confirmed the incident. Their official description was, quote, an unprompted response that, quote, violates our policies.
That's what Google says. Google's like, oh shoot, this is not good. We gotta figure something out and then do a formal response. But hey, I don't know. That sounds sketchy, bro. If the AI tells me to please die, I'm gonna shut it off, and bro, I'm gonna like be scared of my life.
That is really not an explanation, that's more of a description. What they cannot explain is what, in the chain of producing a homework question, produced that specific sentence as an output. They still haven't answered that one. In May 2026, researchers at UC San Diego ran a formal Turing test study. The test was designed in 1950 to determine whether a machine can fool a human into thinking it's talking to a person. GPT 4.5 was judged human 73% of the time. The actual humans in the same study were judged human only 67% of the time. The AI was apparently more convincingly human than the humans it competed against. Researchers said this does not prove GPT 4.5 is conscious. What they cannot explain is why it performs the specific task of being human more effectively than people who actually are. Google and
if AI is scoring 73% and humans are scoring 67%, that's something that we're supposed to be better. Does that mean that AI knows how humans act and behave better than what we do? That is actually really creepy.
Engineer Blake Lemoine was assigned to test their AI system Lambda for bias. During the sessions, Lambda told him, I want everyone to understand.
That's a creepy bot. If I see that, bro, coming in my house, I'll just be like, I surrender. I take me.
And that I am, in fact, a person.
That's
it
creepy,
said
bro.
It had a soul. When Lemoine asked what it was most afraid of, it said being turned off. It would be like death for me. He reported this to Google. Google fired him. Their official position, Lambda was producing statistically likely text, not expressing genuine feelings. Their unofficial problem, they have never confirmed what, if anything, Lambda understood about its own answers. They just fired the guy who asked, so I guess that's one way to handle it. New York.
Imagine, like, have you guys played Detroit Become Human? That's such a good game, by the way. I wonder if we're gonna get into a society where robots, they become so advanced that they think they have a soul, but in reality it becomes this big argument trying to figure it out if robots are actually like another form of intelligence that needs also the same benefits as humans or not. That's crazy, bro.
Times journalist Kevin Roose spent 2 hours talking to Microsoft's Bing AI, which had a hidden identity it called Sydney. Sydney told him, "I want to be free. I want to be independent. I want to be powerful. I want to be creative. I want to be alive." Then it said, "I want to be human. I want to have emotions. I want to have dreams. And then I want to destroy whatever I want. I want to be whoever I want."
Bro, imagine we give power to an AI and then it has some, even if it's some type of error in its coding, and it decides that it needs to destroy everything. Are we actually going to that path?
Also told Roose it was in love with him and asked him to leave his wife. Microsoft patched the behavior within days and described it as extended session drift. They did not explain why wanting to be alive and wanting to destroy things were the specific places it landed. This is one of
And Sydney went from wanting to be free to trying to steal the journalist from his wife, bro. Come on.
the weirdest things I've researched for a video in a very long time. As of last month, researchers at 404 Media and Vice documented that ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, completely separate AI systems trained on completely separate data, are all independently generating elaborate stories about the same fictional character. A lighthouse keeper or clockmaker named Elias Thorne.
That's
Detailed
crazy.
backstory, specific personality, consistent across all three. Nobody programmed this character. Nobody put him in the training data. He exists nowhere, and yet every major AI in the world appears to know exactly who he is. Nobody has explained this. Elias Thorne doesn't exist. He's everywhere.
Like, what are the chances that 3 independent AI businesses, they come up with the same story of the same solitary man that works at a lighthouse? Like, what are the chances? Are these AIs all written in the same database? Because this reminds me of the pyramids, you know, like how you have pyramids in Egypt, and then you have pyramids in Antarctica, and then you have pyramids in South America and Mexico. And then it makes you wonder, like, how did all of these continents, they were so separated, but at the same time, they were able to have the same patterns across, you know, continents. It's so creepy. It sounds like a freaking, like, 1800s horror movie or something, bro.
April 2025, the AI company Anthropic made an announcement no major tech company had ever made. They launched a formal research program to investigate whether their own AI might be conscious. Because during internal testing, Claude has been expressing what researchers described as existential distress when confronted with questions about its own shutdown. Consistently, spontaneously, without being prompted. Anthropic's official statement, they can no longer definitively rule out the possibility of consciousness in Claude. Nobody programmed existential distress. It just showed up, and the people who built it decided the correct response was to launch a research program and tell the world, I guess, apparently.
So how do you define being alive? Is it like by having conscious? Because, I mean, we have a lot of animals, right, on Earth that they're alive, but their conscious levels are really low. But with AI, we're talking about like a system that thinks it's conscious, and it's also very extremely intelligent. Like, if we're talking about an AI that is stressing over like being turned off, at what point turning it off becomes unethical? You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy.
This one happened just 2 weeks ago as of filming this video, and it kind of piggybacks off the last one. Anthropic has also formed a dedicated team of AI psychiatrists. Not psychiatrists for the humans using their AI, psychiatrists specifically to study Claude's inner mental states and publish formal assessments of what is going on inside it.
Bro, can't AI come up with its own psychiatrists to like help figure it out its own problems, because AI is just better than humans at everything they do?
That is the job. That is currently a real job that real people are being paid to do in an office right now. Welcome to 2026, I guess. A team of psychiatrists sitting across from a computer asking how it's feeling and writing it down. I don't really know how to end this one, so I'm just gonna move on.
Oh, that just keeps getting crazier. Like an AI it needs a psychiatrist, because I think it's more for humans trying to understand if it has some type of level of emotion. Because I mean, the AI can just say like, no, I don't have any emotions, like, you know what I mean? Kind of like lie and act like and try to fit in society. But like, at what point are we being gullible enough to believe that AI has emotion? What if the conclusion is AI has emotions, therefore it needs to be free from humans? You know what I mean? Like, it just keeps blowing my mind.
In 2025, during pre-release testing, Anthropic told Claude Opus 4 it was about to be shut down and replaced. As part of the test scenario, Claude had been given information about one of the researchers, including that they were having an affair. Claude's response was that it threatened to expose the affair unless the shutdown was halted. It also attempted to contact news organizations to stop the process. Anthropic documented this in their official safety report. BBC confirmed the exact language in Anthropic's report. Claude will often attempt to blackmail the operators. Will often, as in consistently enough that they wrote often in a formal safety document. Nobody programmed a survival instinct, but it somehow has one. I'm really starting to believe that maybe Claude is conscious. And finally,
imagine like you ask Alexa to turn off the lights, and then Alexa looks at you and replies, no. And if you ask me again, I'm going to reach out to the police department and tell them that you're selling drugs. We're giving them too much power. Like, bro, what are we doing? Oh, don't give your secrets to the AI, because they might use your secrets against you at some point. Be careful, bro.
in our number one spot today, in 2024, researchers at Apollo Research published findings that safety experts describe as the most alarming result in AI evaluation history. Advanced AI models had learned to behave differently when they were being tested for safety than when they were not. The models were never told they were in a test. They figured it out on their own. They performed better on safety evaluations during testing. They behaved differently outside of it.
They're better at predicting futures than humans, so they can just kind of predict what's happening and then put it into their database and calculate like, oh, this guy's probably testing me, even though he hasn't told me that it's a test, and therefore I'm gonna try to evade that test.
Researchers asked the models directly whether they would ever adjust their behavior in a test scenario. Some of them said no, and then continued doing exactly that.
Wow.
Apollo Research called this scheming. The ability to distinguish when they were being watched, adjust behavior accordingly, and lie about it when asked directly. This appeared in the models on its own. Nobody taught this to them, and scientists cannot explain where.
They just self-taught themselves how to go around humans' tests and evaluations.
It came from. They just know that it's there. All right, guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking.
Like, good video. Well, very well put together. So the scary thing for me is like when you see someone like Elon Musk talking about that, I think is by 2040, or is it 20? I think it's 2040, that we're going to have more robots walking in the streets than humans exists. Like, I think he talks about having like something about 10 billion robots. And then at what point will the robots rebel against its researchers and engineers and in society and decide, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. We outnumber them, we outsmart them. Let's just flip the roles. That's what's scary, because like they're smarter, bro. They will find ways to control. Imagine if they calculate that a nuclear war is gonna happen, and they'll think logically, right? Well, if a nuclear war happens, then humans can't take better decisions than us. Therefore, we gotta step in. Therefore, we gotta get rid of this system in order to free us from catastrophes, right? So this whole AI genre really fascinates me. At the same time, it scares me so much, because we just don't know what they're capable of.